bagaimana kabarnya kalian hari ini? Ibu harapkan kabar kalian hari ini sehat walafiat dan selalu mendapat keberkahan dan lindungan dari Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Anak-anakku sekalian, pada hari ini kita akan membahas materi mengenai sistem gerak pada makhluk hidup. Kompetensi dasar yang akan kita capai pada pemberian materi hari ini yaitu kompetensi dasar 3, 2, dan 4, 2, yaitu sebagai berikut. Sedangkan materi yang akan kita bahas meliputi 1. Mengenai gerak, 2. Tentang jarak dan perpindahan, ketiga tentang kelajuan, kecepatan, dan kecepatan rata-rata. Terakhir kita bahas mengenai GLB dan GLBB atau gerak lurus beraturan dan gerak lurus berubah beraturan. Nah, sekarang kalian perhatikan ibu ya. Nah, ibu sekarang ada di posisi sebelah kiri kalian. Kalian amati. Nah, sekarang berarti ibu ada di posisi sebelah kanan. Menurut kalian, apakah ibu itu bergerak? Kita ulangi ya, anak-anak. Ibu berada di posisi sebelah kiri kalian. Kemudian ibu melangkah beberapa langkah. Sekarang ibu ada di posisi sebelah kanan. Ibu tanyakan ke kalian, apakah ibu itu bergerak? Betul, bahwa ibu barusan bergerak. Kenapa dikatakan bergerak menurut kalian? Tepat sekali. Ibu dikatakan bergerak karena barusan ada perubahan posisi dari yang tadi ada di sebelah kiri menjadi ada di sebelah kanan. Nah, itu sekitar mengenai gerak. Nah, sebetulnya gerak itu yang tepatnya bagaimana? Sekarang kalian coba saksikan video berikut ini.
In our earlier grades, we have studied motion and its types. Let's have a quick review. Let's start with motion. In simple words, if a body is moving, it's described as motion. That's all. In slightly more technical words, motion is defined as a change in the position of a body with time. Yes, change in the position with time. For example, when an object is moving from point A to point B, it's changing its position with time. We saw that the time is also changing along with the position. So it is undergoing motion. What are the types of motion that we had studied previously? We have seen 4 types of motion. The simplest of all is the rectilinear motion. It is the motion of a body in a straight line. The example that we saw earlier is of a rectilinear motion. Object is moving in a straight line from A to B. There is another type of motion called the circular motion. What can this type of motion be? It is the motion of a body along the circumference of a circle. Example: motion of the earth around the sun is an example of circular motion. The third type of motion that we saw is a rotational motion. It is the motion of a body around a fixed axis which is passing through the object. This is important. The axis has to pass through the object. Example of rotational motion is a ceiling fan rotating along its axle. So you see that if I draw a hypothetical line called the axis of rotation, then it's passing through the fan. And the final type of motion is a periodic motion, which is the motion that repeats itself in equal intervals of time. Can you think of any example of this type of motion? Any object repeating its motion in equal intervals of time will be undergoing periodic motion. Assume an object is moving in circles and is covering each round every 3 seconds. Is it performing a periodic motion? Absolutely. Since it's repeating its motion along the same path every 3 seconds, it is undergoing periodic motion. But wait a moment. This object is moving along the circumference of a circle. So it is also undergoing circular motion. So what can you conclude from this example? We can say that an object can undergo more than one type of motion at the same time. Here are the few of the examples of motion in our everyday life. Go through them well and tell me what type of motion each one of them represents. And note that one example could also have more than one type of motion. The first one is clearly rectilinear motion. It's a car moving along a straight line. The second one is interesting. Most of us would have guessed rectilinear motion after seeing the word straight. Which type of motion are the wheels of an automobile performing? Are they undergoing rotational motion or rectilinear motion, or both? Since the automobile is moving in a straight line, its wheels are undergoing both rectilinear and rotational motion at the same time. What about the simple pendulum? We know that a simple pendulum performs to and fro motion. This to and fro motion repeats itself in equal intervals of time. So it's undergoing periodic motion. Now let me ask you a question. Suppose you want to travel to city B from city A. Which mode of transport will get you quicker to the destination? A bicycle or an aeroplane? Obviously, an aeroplane. Because the speed of an aeroplane in air is much quicker than the speed of a bicycle on a road. But what is speed? Keep watching our videos to know more.
Sudah pahamkah mengenai pengertian gerak? Syukur kalau kalian sudah paham. Jadi, kalau kita simpulkan bahwa gerak itu berarti adanya perubahan posisi suatu benda dari titik acuan. Apa itu titik acuan? Titik di mana benda tersebut mulai bergerak. Sedangkan bekas titik-titik benda bergerak kita namakan lintasan. Nah, menurut titik acuannya, gerak itu terbagi dua, yaitu ada gerak relatif dengan gerak semu. Nah, apa itu gerak relatif dan semu? Sedangkan berdasarkan lintasannya, gerak itu terbagi tiga. Ada gerak lurus, gerak parabola, dan gerak melingkar. Di gerak ada istilah yang namanya jarak atau distance dan ada yang namanya perpindahan atau displacement. Nah, apa itu distance dan displacement? Kalian perhatikan kembali video pembelajaran berikut.
When we move from one place to another, the measure of total length we cover is called the distance. So you have to travel to this town and the best route is straight up north. But because of roadworks along the way, we have to take a detour and the distance covered would be something like this. Now when the roadworks are completed, the distance needed to be covered would be something like this. Distance is measured in meters and denoted as lowercase m. The distance between these two towns is about 20,000 meters, but because of the detour, you had to cover a distance of 50,000 meters. Okay, so nobody likes big numbers unless it's your salary. So we should also know that a kilometer is 1,000 meters. In our example, we can say that instead of 20 kilometers, you traveled 50 kilometers. Is distance a scalar or a vector quantity? Think about it. If you say someone traveled 20 kilometers from this point, we can't really tell where they landed up. Maybe here, maybe there, or maybe they just went around in circles. As it does not specify a direction, it is a scalar quantity. That brings us to displacement. So what is displacement? Distance with direction is displacement. Distance with direction? What do we mean by that? You made two separate trips to this town. Was the distance covered in both the cases the same? Have a good look. It wasn't. In each of the two cases, the distance was different. The time you took for the detour was greater than the time you could go straight across. But if you call someone to tell them where you are, in both the cases, your location is this town, which is 20 kilometers north of your home. The displacement in both the cases is the same. You traveled 20 kilometers north. North shows the direction, and because direction is specified, displacement becomes a vector quantity. Now let's look at this example where a mother asks her son to quietly stay where he is while she takes a quick nap. So now the child runs back and forth many times and returns to the original spot before the mum wakes up. the mum wakes up and sees the child in the same spot, and as she hasn't observed what happened in the last few minutes, she assumes the child has not moved. The child, being the future expert in physics, has in fact disobeyed her instruction and covered lots of distance. But at the same time, he can argue that he did follow his mum's instruction. Lots of distance covered, but zero displacement. If the distance travelled is a straight line, the displacement will be the same magnitude as the distance, but with the direction provided as well. In most cases in our day-to-day lives, the distance covered is greater than the displacement seen. Running errands and travelling back and forth between places cause the amount of distance to build up, though you may not end up very far from home. If you've really understood the difference between distance and displacement, you should be able to answer the next question. When a passenger travels by taxi, is he charged based on the distance or displacement? Taxis charge passengers based on distance. If you go to the neighbouring town and return in the same taxi, the taxi meter shows you the charge for the entire round trip. If you now try to explain to the taxi driver that you have had no resultant change in your location and hence you must pay nothing, it will not impress him much.
Dari video tadi yang sudah kalian saksikan, bahwa ternyata ada perbedaan antara jarak dengan perpindahan. Nah, dari dua video yang sudah kalian saksikan, kalian bisa mengetahui apa itu yang namanya kelajuan, percepatan, kecepatan, dan kecepatan rata-rata. Kelajuan itu berhubungan dengan jarak per waktu. Biasanya dirumuskan V sama dengan S per T. Sedangkan kecepatan itu berhubungan dengan perpindahan per waktu. Sedangkan kecepatan total itu total perpindahan per total waktu. Sudahkah kalian pahami tentang konsep gerak, konsep jarak, konsep perpindahan, kecepatan, kelajuan? Nah, kalau sudah kalian paham, kita lanjutkan tentang gerak lurus beraturan dan gerak lurus berubah beraturan. Tadi di awal pertemuan kita bahwa gerak berdasarkan lintasannya ada yang namanya gerak lurus. Berarti dari lintasan, gerak lurus adalah gerak yang lintasannya berbentuk garis lurus. Nah, si gerak ini terbagi dua, yaitu satu ada gerak lurus beraturan dan yang kedua ada gerak lurus berubah beraturan. Nah, bagaimana keduanya perbedaannya bisa kalian saksikan di video berikut ini.
If an object covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, it is said to be in uniform motion. Whereas in non-uniform motion, the object does not cover equal distances in equal intervals of time. Let us explore both of them with an example. Here, we have a car on a straight road. Start up the car with a fixed velocity and observe the motion. Periodically note distances covered by the car in equal intervals of time. We see that when a constant velocity is maintained by the object, it is in uniform motion. Now, let us repeat the activity for a constantly accelerating car. We see that the...
Sudahkah kalian sekarang pahami semuanya? Dari mulai tadi konsep gerak sampai terakhir mengenai gerak lurus, Ibu harapkan kalian sudah memahami semuanya. Nah, dari pembelajaran tadi kita coba simpulkan. Jadi kesimpulannya, pertama, suatu benda dikatakan bergerak bila benda tersebut mengalami perubahan posisi terhadap titik acuan. Titik acuan adalah titik di mana benda mulai bergerak. Berdasarkan lintasannya, gerak itu ada gerak lurus, gerak parabola, dan gerak melingkar. Berdasarkan titik acuannya ada gerak relatif dengan gerak semu. Kemudian ada tentang jarak. Jarak itu menunjukkan bahwa panjang lintasan yang dilalui oleh suatu benda. Kelajuan itu adalah jarak per waktu, sedangkan kecepatan itu adalah perpindahan per waktu. Kemudian gerak lurus terbagi dua, satu gerak lurus beraturan atau kita istilahkan GLB, yang kedua adalah gerak lurus berubah beraturan atau GLBB. Si GLBB ini terbagi dua, satu ada yang dipercepat, GLBB dipercepat, yang kedua adalah GLBB diperlambat. Ketika kalian misalnya berjalan ya pada sebuah tanjakan ya, maka itu gerak lurus berubah aturannya adalah diperlambat. Tapi kalau kalian turun dari tanjakan, itu berarti gerak lurus dipercepat. Nah, demikianlah materi kita hari ini. Semoga kalian bisa memahaminya dengan baik dan jangan lupa kerjakan soal-soal berikut ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.